Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of the Fifth Quarter Podcast. I'm your host, Marcus Jones, the Bluff City Cowboy, coming to you live from Memphis, Tennessee. And we are back with another episode. I know I told you guys last week that we will be discussing undrafted rookie free agents tonight. And I gave a caveat. I said, if we make a signing, next week we're going to talk about that signing and we're going to put that undrafted show off. Well, here we are. A week has passed, and a blockbuster trade was made this morning with the Dallas Cowboys trading with the Pittsburgh Steelers to get the rights to George Pickens, wide receiver out of Georgia, number one receiver for the Steelers for the past couple of years. So we got a lot to talk about. I got a bunch of notes right here, and joining me tonight, we have the owner and creator of DC4L Network, Miss Amanda Foster. Thank you for joining, Amanda.
Of course. I wasn't intending on coming, but then, we were talking about it last night, and then we happened to talk about a way to wake up, but
exactly.
I woke up. So I figured, well, might as well jump on.
Shouts out to Slick Rick / Pretty Ricky / whatever name he goes by on Twitter. He gave us the news on this one last night, and Cowboys Nation was buzzed about it and rightfully pessimistic about it happening. But lo and behold, woke up this morning and the deal was done.
Man.
That was really something.
I'm just impressed. And I know I'm very much a firm believer in giving, praise where praise is due. Jerry Jones has been different this offseason.
Mm-hmm.
And do you notice he never said he was going all in this offseason? Those words, they never left his mouth. So we just don't ever want Jerry to say those words again, clearly. Because when he says all in, we do absolutely nothing.
Yeah. And you also got to give a shout out to this coaching staff, too, because clearly fans don't like Schottenheimer, but he definitely has made a change and a shift in the culture this year.
100%.
It started from the day he came. Signing his own coaches, bringing in a culture, making a shift in the locker room. You saw it throughout the draft. There were not a lot of those crazy reach picks,
right,
in the early rounds at least. They didn't take the receiver, which I know the fan base was upset about, but Jerry made a move we haven't seen the likes of since probably the Roy Williams trade, maybe, to go out and get a young veteran to help the team out. I almost would say maybe Amari Cooper. I think that was a little bit different, though.
Well, Amari Cooper was out of desperation.
Yeah.
That was a mid-season desperation.
Exactly.
So that was a Jerry saying, I really messed up letting Dez go and not bringing in a replacement.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what that was.
So we got a great show for you guys tonight. Before we get started, I see we have quite a few people joining us on X. So thank you guys for joining us on X. If you guys get a chance, make sure you go over to Facebook, look for DC4L on Facebook. They have two great groups, a lot of great dialogue, a lot of great content. You can watch the show on there as well. And for you people on X, if you want to participate in the comments, you can do so there. Also, a lot of great giveaways and prizes in there also. We're going to do a giveaway tonight. Unfortunately, you have to be able to comment to have a chance to win. So the people watching on X, unfortunately, you won't have a chance. So if you get a chance, make sure you go over to Facebook or YouTube so that you can get in the comments and let us know what you think. Also, like I just mentioned, YouTube, you guys get a chance, go over to YouTube, find DC4L, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. Also find me at Bluff City Cowboys. So the views are still going up. Let's get those likes to match those views. We have about 40 people watching right now, but we only have 2 likes. So everybody that's watching right now, hit that like button, hit that love button. Let us know that you're there. Help us build our engagement. Got a couple of regulars joining us again tonight. Jack Meeker, appreciate you coming back. Got DJ Dog in the building once again. Appreciate you tuning in. We also got a Bears fan in here. So this is Jeffrey's uncle in Chicago. He joined us a couple of weeks ago when Jeff came on the show. He's been coming every week ever since. So I'm glad that a Bears fan appreciates good football talk. So thank you for joining us. We also got Deuce. Looks like a new name joining us from YouTube. Thank you for joining us. Definitely appreciate that. We got our regular Jeff joining us. Jeff, thank you for tuning in also. And anybody else who's watching, again, get in those comments. Let us know where you're from. Let us know how long you've been a Cowboy fan. Just let us know overall thoughts about the topic of tonight, which is the Cowboys trading for George Pickens. All right, so we're gonna hit a couple notes tonight. Once again, this is an interactive show. Guys, feel free to jump in. We're gonna do a giveaway at the end of the show, so make sure you guys stick with us the entire time for a chance to win that giveaway. But first off, let's go ahead and start off just talking about the draft compensation. So the news broke this morning. It sounds like, excuse me, there were reports during the draft that the Cowboys were looking to set up a trade with the NFC North team, but they fell through. Initially, I thought those trades may have been for Rashad Bateman with the Ravens, but apparently they were for George Pickens. At that point in time, the Cowboys were offering a 4th-round pick, but they ended up settling, dropping down to their 3rd-round pick plus a 5th. And then the Steelers, well, a 3rd-round pick next year, a 5th-round pick the year after that, and then the Steelers are giving us a 6th-round pick in 2027 plus George Pickens. So, Amanda, what were your initial thoughts on the draft compensation we gave up to get George Pickens?
Okay, I know there were a lot of people very concerned because you could call it a 1-year rental. I mean, in a way, you could call it a 1-year rental. But the issue is there's circumstances there which we can keep him around for 2 years, technically with a tag. You could keep him. So I was very happy. He was drafted in the 2nd round. Mm-hmm. So you're already, he's a number 1 and you're getting him for a 3rd-round pick.
Yep.
It tells me that look at what we've done for 4th-round picks, and you look at the very vast jump of talent. There's a very large jump to the talent from a Trey Lance or Jonathan Mingo to a George Pickens. Mm-hmm. So I think the compensation was very fair. I would have been happy if we just gave away, a 3rd. And got, now I can't talk. If we would have just give what we did for George, but we even got a pick back, which I definitely didn't expect.
Yeah.
So Jerry did very well. I do not have a problem with what we paid to get Pickens here. It's exactly what this team needed, was someone to take the pressure off CD and keep the defense honest, because we were missing that.
Great question, Jack Meeker. I'll put a pin on that one. We'll get to it at the end of the show once we get to that point. My thoughts on the trade, you pretty much said everything I'd say, Amanda. I'm not worried about a 3rd-round pick for the fan base who's saying that's too high of a pick. Well, next year, when they sign them to a contract or franchise tag them, you'll say George Pickens is your 3rd-round pick. And based off of what we think his production will be this year, I think you'll be pretty pleased with the outcome. The other thing I would say, I got 2 thoughts. For one, we just traded a 4th for Jonathan Mingo last year.
Yeah.
And what did he give us last year? Nothing.
2 catches?
2 catches.
2 catches.
So you're giving up a 3rd this year for a guy who has the capabilities of being, at worst, 1B. So it's definitely worth the chance. And I don't even care about the 5th because we're swapping 5th, 6th. That's within probably 15 picks of each other, more than likely 20 picks. That's just a wash. It's really just a 3rd-round pick. And then looking at our last wide receiver we took in the 3rd round, Jalen Tolbert. Jalen Tolbert over 3 years has, I believe, 700 receiving yards. Yeah. If George Pickens comes in 1 year, let's just assume it's 1 year. If he gets 1,000 yards in 1 year, that's more than worth the 3rd-round pick because he's given us more production than probably our last 3 3rd-round picks between Tolbert, Nashawn Wright, and I'll even say Chauncey Golston. So even if it is 1 year, I think he'll make us very happy for that pick. And
I agree.
yeah, and we were talking about this amount of the point you made about hypothetically, let's say the reports are true and he wants to hit free agency next year. What happens if he hits free agency next year?
Comp pick, basically the same what you gave away.
Yep.
You get a
So
third round pick for him.
the
So was
only
it a
way,
free 1 year rental? Think about it
yeah,
that way. You look at it in that aspect, and it's a free, and I think you're perfect with the 1B because I don't think you can call him a 2. I don't think you can call him wide receiver 2. He's
yeah,
not a 2, he's a 1. So you've got 1A and CD, 1B on the opposite side. It's literally perfect. And the fact that if he does walk and you get that conditional pick, that comp pick back,
yeah,
it was free. There was no risk. It was a phenomenal move on Jerry Jones's part.
right. Yeah, there, like you said, literally no risk because if he
No.
hits free agency next year, if he doesn't sign with us, it's only because some team just blew him out the water with a contract.
And
And
that
if
would
they
be because he has a great season here. For the
exactly
people in there who say, "Oh, it's a 1 year rental," well, then you think he's going to have a good season. I'm not going to talk about the other comments because that wouldn't be. We'd be here all night.
right. So if he has a great season, somebody signs him to a $30 million deal, which by the way, we'll talk about that in a minute. That's pretty unrealistic. If he signs a $30 million a year deal somewhere else, we're getting a third round comp pick for him.
Right.
So we basically just gave up a 2026 comp pick, third round, for a 2027 third round, and we got the access to a top 50 wide receiver, and we only paid him $3 million. That's win, 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 win. Worst case scenario, all the way around. All right. Got a couple more new people joining us. Well, Lee Harrison's been here quite a bit, so thank you for joining us. Donald Lewis looks like a new name, so thank you for tuning in. Esther Benavidez, joining us from LA, longtime Cowboy fan. Appreciate you tuning in. Let's see, any names I missed? Cutler Ridge Kane. We're talking about George Pickens, and I see there's a lot of Dak Prescott chatter. Just I don't get it. Like, that's not even the topic, and they still try to take it there.
It's everything goes to Dak. People,
Exactly.
and it's so funny. 2023 full year of health, set out multiple fourth quarters, and this is all I'm going to say because I'll go on and on. But set out multiple fourth quarters, second in MVP voting, and I'm sorry he got robbed. He should have won, but we all know the MVP tends to be a popularity contest. Numbers outside of rushing were better in every aspect. So I just can't comprehend the fact that people act like Dak is just a walking trash can. But there are people who literally think that every quarterback on our roster somehow is better than Dak, but never gets the starting job. It makes zero sense to me. Everyone's better than Dak to some people. And it always ends up there. You could post about Tony Romo and people are going to bring up Dak.
What doesn't make sense to me is you can look at any quarterback statistic or measurable over the past 5 years. Dak's at worst top 10 in every statistic.
In every one of them.
Every one of them, no matter which one you pull up. Short yardage, long yardage, touchdowns,
accuracy,
completions, accuracy,
all of it.
Every statistic, he's mostly top 5.
Yeah.
But conservatively, he's definitely top 10. And people still say he's a bad quarterback.
We got to remember, numbers don't matter when they're in their feelings.
Exactly.
They'll just tell you that's garbage time. I argue this. I'm so tired of hearing that. Okay.
So we're the only team that has garbage time stats.
That's right.
I guess. I don't know. But yeah, like you said, we can go back and forth about that one 100 times. But we're going to keep this one about George Pickens because this is a great night. And we got a great player who's going to join the team.
His numbers, I didn't realize how good Pickens was in certain aspects statistically. I was researching a little bit before we went live. It's very impressive.
Yeah. And all that despite the carousel of below average quarterbacks he had to deal with, from Mitch Trubisky,
Roethlisberger at the end of his career. Right? Didn't he have him the first year?
I don't know. I think Roethlisberger may have been hurt. I don't think he got him the whole year, but he did get him a little bit. Yeah, you're right. But yeah, he got end of year. He got Mason Rudolph, Justin Fields,
Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson. Who was the first round pick that they traded to the Eagles after 2 years?
Kenny Pickett.
Kenny Pickett. So he just had a carousel of bad quarterbacks, and he still put up 900 yards one year, 1,100 yards the next year on a run first team in a consistently bad weather atmosphere.
Yeah.
So let's just talk about what he brings to the Cowboys, because for me, the number one thing I look at, and Jeff talks about this all the time, we needed an X receiver.
We did.
I know the fan base was upset we didn't draft one, but we got one now. We got a true X. His two main things that he's good at are two things we've been missing. He's great at 50-50 balls, and he's number 1 or number 2 in yards per catch.
Number one, I believe.
Number 1 in yards per catch, and then he's like number 2 in catches more than 15 yards. So the coaches emphasized explosiveness all offseason. You just added a receiver whose calling card is making explosive plays.
With fire in the belly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And another great thing, unlike Brandon Cooks or Michael Gallup or the number 2s before, he's only missed 3 games his entire career. So, and he's only 24 years old. And in comparison, all the receivers that came out in the draft, he's only 18 months or less older than them. So it's not like you're getting a guy who is at the end of his prime. He basically has just started to reach his prime. 24, 25 is usually a wide receiver's best year, and we're getting him right at that point. So he's definitely going to bring a lot to this team. Anything else I missed, Amanda, about what you think he brings to the team?
Numbers wise, I was just sitting here and looking because I had a few things. So one of the things was total receiving yards by a team's top 2 wideouts since 2022. So number 1, of course, is Tyreek and Jalen. AJ and Devontae are number 3. But now, do you know who's went from? I think we were at like 13. Do you know where? Or we were way down there because we didn't have a number 2. So do you know where we are now on that list?
Who did you say was 1?
Tyreek and Jalen Waddle.
What are we? 4?
And then AJ and Devontae are number 3. Oh no, I skipped 2 for a reason.
Oh, okay.
CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, 7,143 yards since 2022.
I would have thought it was Chase and Higgins, but
that is number 4.
Okay, that's number 4.
And they're at 65 and 66.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. So yeah.
Really, I just outside of numbers, I think what's very important is to have someone that will go up and get the ball. Also, I stressed last year, one of the big issues with Cooks, he really defenses didn't fear Cooks like you would a Pickens. And I'm very excited because a defense can't just isolate CeeDee now and, stack the box on your running game. They can't do that now. There's absolutely no ability to do that with George Pickens on one side and CeeDee on the other.
Exactly.
And then you got Ferguson, and I think our run game is going to be strong too. So that's what's exciting for me is just less pressure on CeeDee. And God forbid something bad happens, like we saw with CeeDee's shoulder, you have someone who can step in and fill that role. I'm glad the stability and the security that a George Pickens brings to this team. Oh, did we lose Marcus? He'll be back, y'all. Let's see. Let me read the comments real quick while we get him back. It happens sometimes. Okay, let's see. Jeff, the great blocker thing, he is a really good blocker, but one of the things that makes George mad is he hated blocking, but he is a very, very good blocker. Let's see. Jeff, okay. So while we wait on Marcus to come back, this is something that a lot of people talk about, the attitude. And I know Marcus and I are probably going to get into it, and he's back now, so we won't go too far. I we haven't had the attitude that George Pickens brings to this team since Des Bryant.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need someone that will get in there and really just gung ho push you. Like we've had a lot of, we don't see that fire on the sidelines. I think George brings that to this team too. So I agree.
Exactly.
Everybody wants to talk about, which I'm sure Marcus has planned, the locker room cancer issue.
Mm-hmm.
But do you know that how everybody was talking about George Pickens this offseason would be great on their team, great on that team, great on this team. His attitude was never brought up. But you trade him to the Cowboys, and now he's a butthole.
Exactly.
And all that everybody talks about is how terrible of an attitude he has, and he's such a bad cancer to the locker room. I just don't get it. I have no clue.
Yeah. So before we move on, and I just added some new cameras to my house, so they're pulling a lot of Wi-Fi. I turned them off, so we're still adjusting here. I shouldn't have any more problems. King Miru 14, thank you for joining. Kurt Whitmer, looks like a new name, so thank you for tuning in. Also, let's see who else we got. Benjamin Leonel Pompa, definitely a new name, so thank you for tuning in. And Jason Layton, I've seen that name quite a bit, so thank you for coming back and joining us. So yeah, George brings a lot to this team, to me, on the field, off the field, on the sidelines, like you said, Amanda. Let's just go really quick, just so I can put a bit of a visual to what he brings on the field. I know this is kind of small. I try to make it as big as I can. So, offense, defense. Let's just go through a couple of scenarios. We've done this a couple of times. We've talked about how the offense has said they want to focus on explosiveness. So let's just assume you got a team that's running cover 3. So cover 3 means basically this corner's covering this third. So all this is this corner. This safety's covering this third. So he has to cover all this. This corner has to cover this third. So he covers all of this. And then this safety will more than likely cover this tight end. The linebacker has the running back. And if the running back stays in, he covers the underneath. And then this linebacker, because this will probably be CeeDee Lamb, and this will be George Pickens. So this linebacker, in a typical scheme, would help kind of trail with this corner. So they kind of pattern match CD. So now, when you look at all this, it looks kind of scribbly. But what this says is you got cover 3. That means this corner is now, he's not on an island with Jalen Tolbert or Brandon Cooks. He's on an island with George Pickens. And George Pickens has all this real estate that he can manipulate to try to make a play. So that's your first mismatch right there. He got the comeback, you got the out route, you got the in route. So now you got this linebacker helping with CD, because that's how it always happens. What does that look like? Just take a look at the screen. You've got this safety on the tight end. You've got this safety deep. This linebacker is probably going to cheat a little bit this way so he can help with CD right here. Look at that box. You've got 5 focused on the box. This linebacker may help. This safety may help. But it's only 5 in the box. And we just added a first-round guard right here, along with a bunch of roll graders from guard, center guard.
Yeah.
So now you got Javonte Williams or Blue or Moff or whoever it is. Now you've got these defensive tackles against Tyler Smith and Tyler Booker, with Cooper Beebe either double teaming or cleaning up this linebacker. That's 5 yards a pop every time.
Every time.
And then
I think our running game is going to be strong too. I really have a good feeling about that. And plus, and people don't need to discount with this setup here. Blue out of the backfield. He also has hands. He is quite the receiving running back. So I look at that. and he's got speed. You get him the ball in a little bit of space. I think he runs a 4.38.
4.38, yeah.
He is a fat. This opened up this offense insanely well.
So now you bring up that point. Now let's put Dak in the shotgun, and you got Blue right here. So now Blue is one-on-one with this linebacker because this safety has to cover the tight end. Yep. This linebacker's cheating on CD. This safety's covering deep. This corner's covering deep. So now you got Blue on the flare route or breaking through the line on a quick out route, and this linebacker has to keep over 4.3 speed with no help because everybody's got eyes over here. Now, let's assume this safety, I got a lot of stuff up here, but let's assume this safety right here, they're in cover 3, but let's say this safety kind of cheats to this side because you know what? We've got George Pickens one-on-one with our corner, and we don't trust him to be able to hold up. Now, you've got Turpin, 4.2 speed, one-on-one with this corner.
Man.
And the safety's over here. You just let him clear the line and throw it up, and he'll do the rest.
Do you know, on that note, real quick, I want your opinion. Yeah. We're talking about deep routes. Now, look, so we have the speed with Turpin. Pickens is a great deep ball guy. Would you let Mingo, would you set up some packages with Milton and that arm?
Yeah, of course.
I would too. Like, I've been thinking about this constantly. That man has an arm that I have you don't see that much. I'll go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, he's raw. And I'm not saying Dak isn't capable. Dak can throw a long ball too, but Milton can throw it further. We've seen that. We've seen the clips. So I was just curious on your aspect with this setup. You get Milton back there and let him throw it. Not Milton. I keep calling him Milton. Milton. Yeah, Milton. Sorry, not Mingo. Yeah. Too many M's. It's kind of like too many Tylers on the line.
Right. But I mean, what you just said, we got a thin box right now.
Yeah.
Let's put Milton with Blue right here. Let's do read option. We read this linebacker. Blue comes here. This linebacker cheats. Now you got Milton right here. Okay. Milton right here. Like you said, Turpin, 4.2 speed, throw it up. Or let's run a regular option. Milton, Blue.
Yeah.
And you still got this tight end who's pressing the post. So
and we know Ferguson's got a block. Ferguson can block like nobody's business.
Right. And we're not even, he can block great, like you said, but we haven't even talked about how this opens up the middle of the field for Ferguson now.
Yeah.
Because now Ferguson, if Lamb's in the slot right here, all the focus is on the left side of the field. So, and you got this guy one-on-one, but now you have Ferguson pretty much has all this to work with. And he's basically one-on-one with a safety. So this does a lot to this offense. And that's just cover 3. Let's just look at cover 2 really quick. So cover 2. Okay, now George Pickens is starting to kill us. So we're going to keep those safeties deep. So now you still got Pickens right here, and Pickens is pulling this safety. So now you got Lamb with all this real estate to play with, and you've got Ferguson because this safety is going to go here.
Right.
Now Ferguson pretty much has his way inside the middle of the field because you still got a Tolbert or a Mingo or a Turpin right here. You got the hitch routes if they're playing zone. It just opens up everything because unlike last year, two people have to account for both of these guys.
Yeah.
It's not just everybody focus on Lamb.
Right.
Or if they want to be dumb and try Pickens one-on-one, he's winning jump balls over 90% of the cornerbacks. And then once again, We just beefed up our offensive line. This box is going to be 5 or 6 all the time because you cannot bring a safety down. And that safety is either going to stay deep or he's going to help bracket CD. He's not going to be able to come down and run coverage. So you're going to have this linebacker, maybe this safety.
Oh, real
Pick
quick.
your poison.
Real quick, I want to say hi to Cooper's dad. Cooper BB's dad's watching right now. So I want to say hi to Thomas. He's watching us. So I just want to say hi. I just saw I got the update on my phone. So
Okay.
welcome in, sir.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. BB, for tuning in. Be sure to get in the comments. Let us know what your thoughts are, what we're talking about. So King Miru says Cowboys and the Giants are going to be fighting for third place. He can't be a Cowboys fan.
Clearly not.
Absolutely not.
I always find it intriguing how many, Eagles or maybe even Commanders fans end up, popping in.
Yeah.
It's like we always have their attention.
Definitely. So, yeah, I just wanted to kind of show this a little bit to give you guys a look at what George Pickens can bring to this offense. I think he's really going to be effective playing in this new system because this system is going to be focused on speed and explosiveness. All right, so finally got that true X, deep balls. Always going to win 50-50 balls. Going to help CD Lamb out a lot. And I know there were some people saying, well, if George Pickens is a 1, how are we going to keep both of them happy? There's enough throws to go around because nobody else is really contributing. And I brought this statistic up with somebody I was talking to on Twitter, and they were saying, well, you're going to have CD really upset if George Pickens comes in. George Pickens with the Steelers, his best season, he had 106 targets, not catches, targets as the number 1. CD Lamb, when he was the number 2 receiver as a rookie, he had 112 targets as a rookie. His second year as the number 2 target, he had 120 targets. And that was why that was why Amari Cooper was still getting 125, 130 targets. So there's enough throws to go around to make both of those guys happy. He's going to see more targets as a number 2 here than he saw as a number 1 in Pittsburgh.
It's I think a lot of people are just trying to detract from how good of a deal this actually is.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's hard. Look, Cowboys fans, we're right there with you. It is very hard. Like we call it cautiously optimistic. And when this trade went through, it said Jerry means business this time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what Brian Schottenheimer has on Jerry Jones because Mike McCarthy has to be sitting at home like punching the air.
Yeah.
Like I didn't get any of this. What in the world? But there's plenty of targets to go around. Marcus actually brought that up to me. We were talking about it in the DC4L chat. There are plenty of targets to go around. And both of these guys, CD and George, are going to make each other better. Mm-hmm. You have more success when there's a strong receiver opposite of you as a wide receiver than if you're the only one there because you're double teamed a lot more often. You want that. Look at how well CD and Amari Cooper did. You brought this up. We can go back. Was it Terrence Williams and Des Bryant?
Uh-huh.
That's another good, strong example. So I just think it's important to notate that.
Yeah. So I see the conversation is starting to go towards kind of the next topic we have. And with the 35-minute marks, the views still keep going up. Thank you guys for tuning in. Continue to get in those comments. Let us know what you think. Also, hit that like button if you're watching. So I see a couple of comments talking about Pickens and are we going to sign him? What's his potential contract? Let's see. So King Miru said y'all. So that lets me know he's not a Cowboys fan. And it looks like, yeah, he's wearing an Eagles jersey in his profile pictures. Well, thank you for joining us as an Eagles fan. We appreciate all engagement.
We do, and we're nice. We're not, we love talking football, so all fans are welcome.
Yeah, I'm not going to say anything bad about the Eagles because right now we're talking about the Cowboys. So feel free to keep continuing to stay in the comments and let us know your thoughts. Michael Rizzo says, is Dallas going to try to work out an extension? Let's see.
Lots of talk on the extension.
Yeah, it's just so many comments. I'm trying to go through them all. Yeah, the comments coming in pretty quick.
Yeah, the views are just jumping up and up too. So that's
Michael
great.
Rizzo,
Thank you all for tuning in.
Love the trade. Means nothing. It's only if it's only for 1 year, they have to give him an extension. I can't be one and gone. Well, Michael, you missed the beginning of the show. We talked about that. If worst case scenario, he comes here for a year, he signs a big deal somewhere else. We basically just got the benefit of a top 40 receiver for $3 million. We gave up a third round pick to get him. We'll get a third round pick back compensatory. I know the fans won't like to hear that, but I would rather have him for a year for free than not have him at all.
Agreed.
And next year is going to be a good receiver draft. He can be a great bridge to the next young guy who's opposite Lamb or the next free agent who becomes available, who we sign to an extension.
I'm excited for the impact that another veteran presence. I know you can't technically call him a vet because he's entering the last year of his rookie deal.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for that presence because we have a UDFA that I don't know how he wasn't drafted that somehow snuck onto this team. And Trayshawn Holden, if y'all haven't watched this tape, that man can run every route on the route tree. I have not seen anything that he's not good at. He needs some work, rough around the edges. Clearly, I think he's from Oregon.
Yeah.
But
he was with Bama and he transferred to Oregon.
I'm very impressed with him. So I'm just excited for the mentorship that players like CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens also bring to this young team. We have a lot of young receivers when you look at it, a lot. So I really expect that, I'm not worried about the attitude. I'm excited for the experience that George brings to help CeeDee. The mentorship's important.
And not even talking about CD. I mean, Michael Irvin's very active in the locker room. I know fans won't want to hear it, but Pickens and Dez Bryant have a lot in common.
They do.
And Dez, just following his Twitter, he's still upset with Jason Garrett, but for the most part, he seems to have matured enough where if they brought a guy in, he could really kind of help mentor him a little bit.
Did you see what he said today? It made him want to go. Oh, if y'all didn't see, Dez said today, the way Shoddy's working makes him want to go suit up again and throw on some pads because there was none of this when Garrett was here.
Yeah.
Or no, he called him the clapper. Sorry, he didn't refer to him as Jason. And yes, Jack, we did. I couldn't believe that. I don't know what's up with that contract either. It was absolutely insane.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, so let's go. Go ahead, Amanda.
Oh, I was just going to answer Michael's question. Is that okay, real quick?
What, this one?
The one about the extension, just what was said.
Okay.
So according to reports from Jane Slater and Todd Archer, Pickens is wanting to come in and make an impact. He wants to come in and show that he's a top receiver in this league. So he's not quite interested in an extension at this time. But remember, we have a tag you can use. You can always do a tag and trade if you feel like he's come in and he really wowed people and you think you can get a second round for him. You've got that tag. I think the receiver tag is $20 million.
It's 23.
23. I knew it was close.
Yeah.
So the one gentleman, the Eagles fan that said 30 million. I mean, if you want to look at it that way, I actually think you could get him much cheaper than that. If we're going to start talking extensions and you go there, even I would think between 20 and 25 would be where I would put George Pickens. So I'd tag him if I had to. If he plays well and he does well, that would be my opinion. I'm not worried because, like Marcus said, if you only have him for a year, a $3 million for a really great year that makes this team able to compete, that's a win. So
Exactly. So I don't know if you guys can see this because it shows up kind of small on my screen, but I was going to pull up all the wide receiver contracts just to give you an idea of where best case, worst case scenario he falls in line. So let's look at this really quick. I use spotrack.com for everything. They always seem to have the most accurate information
yes,
when it comes to anything that's player related. So when you look at this, I mean, we don't have to look at the top. Wishful thinking, if he can outplay Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb,
woo,
he's not anywhere in this stratosphere. I'm just looking at the average salaries. So he's not Amon-Ra St. Brown. Maybe absolute best case scenario, he can be Brandon Ayuk. But I'm going to the top 1B receivers. So if you look at the second tier, you've got T. Higgins, you've got Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith. So Devontae Smith for the Eagles is making $25 million a year. If George Pickens has a great year, I think that's his floor. If he just completely balls out, I think his ceiling is T. Higgins at 28. And I mean, he would really have to ball out. So his range in a great year is 22 or 25 to 27 million. If he just comes in and he's just a solid guy, that puts him more third tier. So that puts him around Christian Kirk, 18, Terry McLaurin, 22. So he's not hitting 30 because the top 5 receivers in the league are at 30. So I don't get where the 30 million talk comes from.
yeah. We have someone in the chat saying he gets 35 million easily. That would reset the entire market.
Justin
right?
Jefferson makes 35 million.
Yeah, like that. You would almost beat JJ there. That's crazy. I can't see that at all.
Exactly.
So,
That's just, and I'm around 58. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's just completely unrealistic. He would have to outperform CD, and even if he did, he's still not getting more than CD. I mean, even if he was just all pro, where would you put him at, Amanda? Let's say hypothetically, he just completely balled out for 1 year and made all pro. Is he getting Justin Jefferson money? 35?
no.
Is he getting DK Metcalf 33?
No.
AJ Brown 32?
All
pro ball out.
Okay, but that's 1 year. Look, other players have multiple years of success 90% of the time in the receiver. We rarely see a receiver paid from one good year. Granted, He's been great, but he's been great on a bad team. But say he comes in, gets all pro.
Now remember, we're saying absolute best case scenario. All pro.
26 million to 28 million would be like my ceiling for George Pickens, even with that good of a year. But I still see him around 20 to 23 million. That's where I personally see him with just a good season. Yeah. I don't see him resetting the market at all.
No, not at all. And I'm around 58. We're not saying he's not a good receiver.
We're happy. We're extremely happy with this trade. We're just saying that he's not getting paid more money than CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, AJ Brown. The list goes on. I don't even know if he deserves more money than a Devontae Smith. So,
and that would, to me, that's realistic best case scenario.
Right. Real is around Devontae's
Devontae Smith 25 million. That's best case.
That's where I'm at. Best case was 27-ish to me. So like you, I don't do best case as well. I like to look at things realistically. So
right. I would say realistically, if he repeats what he did last year, 1,000 yards, 7 touchdowns, Uh, I would put him anywhere between Christian Kirk at 18
Well, can we?
and
So I'm around 58 as an Eagles fan. He said, I'm not sure if it's a he or she. They said that earlier, but they're saying that Pickens is going to have the Barkley effect and we get an NFC chip out of this. Look, if you're going to say that's the case, I mean, sure, some crazy person can pay him and reset the market. If we're going to an NFC championship game, I
yeah,
think Cowboys fans don't really care what anyone wants to pay him when we leave.
yeah,
That's success for us. It's been 30
exactly.
years. So, but I don't know if I would say he's going to have the Barkley effect. Barkley is a
No,
different beast.
yeah,
Uh, he's
yeah,
very special. But I still think, just so you know, I'm around 58. I still think the Eagles are absolutely out of their minds to extend him already and to give him that kind of money
yeah.
with
That's
his injury
crazy.
history and with his injury. Like, it's unfortunately Barkley's a ticking time bomb.
Yeah,
Not because he isn't good. He's just the history.
yeah. Realistically, I put him between Christian Kirk at 18 and Chris Godwin at 22. That's with a good year. If he has a great year, he may cap at 27 around T. Higgins. And if he just completely balls out in 1 year, I still say, even at that, his ceiling's still 30.
Agree. Hard agree. Yeah. And if he's
And
playing
worse,
like that with us, I mean, and he's young enough, you sign him opposite CD. I mean, you structure the contract right. I wouldn't even be mad if he did ball out and we paid him that.
but if it's absolute best case scenario,
Right.
we just slap a franchise tag on him for 23
For
and
23.
then let him open it up and take offers. And whoever wants him, they give us a first or a second back. And we'll gladly let him go. So it's all a win-win, no matter what happens to me.
Agreed. Great trade.
Yeah, great trade all around. Yeah, sometimes I know it sounds good to hear people say, well, he's going to get this much or that much. Sometimes you just got to put the actual numbers to what you're saying to see where it's at. Like Jason Layton says, DJ Moore. DJ Moore's making $27.5 million.
Right.
But DJ Moore's been a number one receiver for 5 straight years. And if George Pickens puts up 1 year of DJ Moore stats, that's not enough for him to surpass DJ Moore in terms of a contract. Let's see. Any more comments? Jeff says DJ Moore to Nico Collins top. Where's Nico Collins at? Nico Collins is at 24.5.
Has he already gotten paid off his rookie deal?
Yeah, he just got his first. He got his first contract last year. That was his first contract off his rookie deal. Yeah, a lot of these guys signed their contracts last year, so these contracts are all still fresh. Like I'm looking at this sheet right here. You have to go all the way down to Christian Kirk before you see a deal that was not signed in 24 or 25. So all these contracts are still pretty fresh contracts. So it's not like you're going to be resetting the market from 2022. These are all new contracts. So he's going to be slotted right in behind wherever he fits in terms of statistics. Jason Layton says if he balls out, I can see another team pursue him aggressively. If they want to give us a first or a second, they're more than welcome to. If he plays out this contract and doesn't sign a deal, he's definitely getting franchise tag. So he's not just going to be a free agent walking the streets. That's not happening. And I'm around 15 says if he puts up CD numbers on the Cowboys, he's getting 30. CD put up CD number for 4 years and he just got over 30. So 1 year is not going to make the Cowboys in particular just open up the purse strings and make a guy a top 5 paid player. On top of that, next year, you got to pay Bland. You may want to pay Tyler Smith. I think Micah's coming this year. I'm not concerned about that one.
Ferguson.
And then you got Ferguson, who's a free agent. So you got some deals that are coming up. And unless George Pickens is just amazing, he's going to fall probably at best third on that list. Brian Tanner, one of the admin in the group. No, we haven't talked about Gabe Davis yet. So Amanda, and Andrew Smith, I see your comment joining us from Memphis. Always good to see a fellow Memphian in the comments. I'm glad you're not out there riding because of the Tyree Nichols situation. So I appreciate you joining us here tonight. I'll get to your comment in a second. Amanda, what do you think about the Gabe Davis cutting?
Okay, so Gabe only was on the Jags 1 year?
1 year they signed him for a big deal.
Because he was with Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Right. And then he ended up in Jacksonville. And they did sign him to a large contract.
Yeah, he got a pretty big deal last year. I
didn't realize he got a big deal.
I think it was 14 a year, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow. So they've got to be still paying him something this year, right?
I'm pretty sure he didn't have just 1 year guaranteed in their contract. So they ate some cap. Yeah, they had to eat some cap in that deal.
Okay, Brian, I got to ask, are you inquiring as to if we should pursue him as like a third? You got to ask if that's where we're going. I really don't think we should add any more receivers. I feel like we have way too many at this point.
We'll talk
I'm
about
all
that
about
in the show.
I'm always
in the show. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just, it's interesting. Jacksonville must have plans to pay other people, but they also just they drafted a really strong receiver too. So
they did.
So, and they got Brian Thomas. So they have their two. So it really isn't too surprising when you look at it. I feel bad about the dead cap they probably had to eat, the money. Mm-hmm. But I didn't realize he had that big a deal. I thought he just got cut. So
yeah, he just signed his deal last year.
Wow.
But yeah, I was thinking about that. If the Cowboys would have waited 12 hours, would they have tried to pursue Gabe Davis instead of picking up George Pickens? And I was wondering how fans would have felt about that.
I'm glad they didn't. Pickens is the better receiver. Gabe is real hit and miss.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Gabe is nowhere near close to Pickens. You have Tolbert. I agree with you. Okay. Andrew Smith asked the question.
Okay.
Playing devil's advocate, if Pickens will put his best foot forward on the last year of the contract, he feels like Pickens will put his best foot forward, and if we tag him, he might show out like Antonio Brown. What are your thoughts?
So Antonio Brown, a lot of his showing out was from a medical condition. We have to keep that in mind. CTE is a terrible, terrible thing. We've seen it. It ruined Antonio Brown's career. Mm-hmm. People don't want to talk. He wasn't just crazy. It was a medical. He is still crazy, but CT's a monster. So I don't think a tag's $23 million. It's not like nothing. It's not like tagging him to pay him less. It's just a placeholder. I always remind people when we talk about tags, it's simply a placeholder. So a $23 million placeholder isn't really anything to frown about. I don't see an issue. I don't think he would act out. It's so funny. I've read so many conflicting reports about Pickens' attitude, and a lot of the locker room said, like Pittsburgh, not fans, Pittsburgh team members said George was great in the locker room. Pittsburgh fans says he was a cancer to the locker room. So I don't really know. I don't see him acting out like that. Yeah. He didn't act out with the way they've been treating him, and they've been talking about trading George Pickens all off season. This was the talk that we've heard. He wasn't saying anything. He's been very quiet, head down, nose clean type of behavior. So I just don't see him acting out. Plus, $23 million is a lot of money, and it's all up front.
Mm-hmm. And let me say this, and then we'll talk about the next topic, which is character. George Pickens was not a first-round pick. Mm-mm. He was a second-round pick. So that means his contract was probably 4 years, anywhere from $4 to $7 million total. Unlike a first-round pick, whose contract is going to be 4 years, $20 million, plus a fifth-year option that'll probably pay them anywhere from $12 to $20 million for 1 more year. So if he was a first-round pick and he had $32 million in the bank roughly, you might consider sitting out on that franchise tag because you've got some you've got some cushion, you've got some stability already kind of lined up. If you're a player who's made $6 million for 4 years and a team says, I'm going to cut you a check for $23 million for 1 year, you think he's going to sit out and take a chance? No, he'll be here. I'm not even thinking about that as an option. I can't even think of a situation where a guy who wasn't a first round pick held out on a franchise tag. Most of the people that do that are usually people who finished up their second contract, so they've already kind of made good money, and now they're trying to get that one last payday before they ride off into the sunset. I've never heard of a guy coming off of his rookie contract who wasn't a first round pick who said, nah, I'm gonna just let that 24 million walk, and I'm gonna sit out 8 games and lose 11 million of 23 to prove a point. No way that happens. No way that happens at all. Yeah, he was a second round pick. But I just can't see it. But a great question. Great question, Andrew Smith. Appreciate you staying engaged. So we still got some Mingo questions. We're gonna get to those in a second. But now, to me, we got to talk about kind of the elephant in the room. And Amanda, you just touched on this one briefly. The character concerns. And you hear people saying, well, he's a locker room cancer and this and that. And you pretty much say it. The teammates didn't say that. That was the fan base and the media.
Yeah. The uncoachable thing that has been thrown around, that he's uncoachable. I just don't understand. Like, clearly he's coachable. Look, he's put up 1,000-yard. I mean, he's clearly doing something.
Yeah.
I'm really not worried about his character. Yeah. Sometimes a change of scenery is all people need.
Yeah. I think, go ahead.
Oh, well, I'm just saying the Cowboys have had their fair share of divas. If you even want to call George Pickens a diva, I guess you could if you wanted to. I don't see it at this moment in time. Maybe he'll end up being a little diva, but look at T.O. T.O.'s best years were in Dallas.
Yeah.
Just being up front. He was what you would call a diva. Des Bryant got big, and I just don't see it. I'm not worried about this man's character. We need someone that's going to push this team. We have soft players, and I don't mean that all the way around, but we do have some players that seem to get content in, the calm pace. We need people up there firing up the team. George Pickens brings that in. So,
yeah. And just to add on to what you said, I mean, I really feel like it's something in that Steelers culture in terms of front office, coaching staff, that they just don't get along with receivers. I can take a guess at what it is. I think it's pretty obvious. They don't pass the ball a lot because
they're a running team.
Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
You can't have a top receiver on a team and not passing the ball and think he's going to be a model citizen. And I'll put this question out there for the fan base to think about. You think of any number one receiver in the NFL. Now, the average top receiver gets about 120 to 130 targets per season. That's roughly 12 targets a game. George Pickens averages 6 targets a game. Think of any top wide receiver for any team, and I told you he's going to average 6 targets per game. Do you think he's going to be the same model citizen he is now, or is he going to lollygag on routes, or is he going to look disappointed on the sidelines? I would bet money that you put any top receiver in that situation, and they're going to look the same way George Pickens looks. I don't think it's a just him problem.
It's kind of like, I'm trying to think of the best way to put this euphemism, or not a euphemism, just an example. So you're really, really good at your job, but your job prefers to use the other guy because they want to do it a different way than you do it, even though you're better at it. Like they're going to run the ball and not, you would just be angry if, they weren't if your job didn't utilize you correctly. You're going to be angry. You're going to get, you're going to kind of get heated. So, I mean, it makes sense to me why you'd be upset. 6 targets is a shame. Like when you have someone good on the outside and you're not throwing the ball, and his numbers prove he's good.
Yeah.
So of course he's going to get a little hot headed. I find it hilarious, though. I find it hilarious that Jordan Lewis, we didn't sign Jordan Lewis back and we traded for Pickens.
Yeah. If you look at the Steelers, Pickens had only 100-yard less than the wide receiver 2, 3, and 4 combined. That's how dominant he was in that offense. And they still only gave him 103 targets. Now, because we had Eagles fans in the comments, I didn't want to say this guy. I didn't want to sound like hate, but we've seen a good receiver on a good team not get targets and literally pull a book out and just check out of a game. And you think George Pickens is a distraction. That's the kind of stuff we're dealing with here. He's not going to be a distraction on this team because I think they're going to give him targets. Jalen Tolbert, to give a point of reference, I brought up the CeeDee Lamb before. CeeDee Lamb as a number 2 receiver had 111 targets and 120 targets in back-to-back years. That was with a good Amari Cooper, a great Amari Cooper, and a good Michael Gallup. He still got more targets than George Pickens got as the number 1 go-to guy. Jalen Tolbert, who I think every fan in the league every fan who's a Cowboys fan would say he's a bottom 3 number 2 receiver, maybe the worst number 2 receiver in the league. He had 80 targets last year as a terrible number 2. You don't think George Pickens is going to get at least 30 more targets than Jalen Tolbert? No.
How many did Cooks have? How many did Cooks have? That would be a good place to start. Do you know off the top of your head?
I can pull it up. I got the computer right here.
While you're doing that, do you mind if I answer a question that someone asked me?
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead and highlight.
Andrew, so here, I'll pop it on the screen. Look, I'm smart enough to do that. Okay, so I'm not going to, I'll wait till Marcus gets back for the ceiling, but to answer your question, so I'm going to answer it twice. So this is my favorite thing from the case that's not memorabilia-wise. I got this year from the Cowboys for winning Fan of the Year. It's a bottle of rum that's engraved and stuff from Captain Morgan. But my favorite piece, memorabilia-wise, is probably my Great Wall helmet. So it's got Travis Frederick, Tyron Smith, and Zach Martin on it. So that's my favorite piece that's in there. It's a really nice helmet.
Yeah. So I was looking up Brandon Cook's stats. Now, Brandon Cooks had 81 targets in his best season, but he only played 13 games. But you got to remember that year, I think he only had 20, because we talked about this. This was the year when we first started the show. And during the bye week show, I had you and Charlie on here, and we were talking about how bad the offense looked. If I'm not mistaken, Brandon Cooks only had 27 catches at the midway point of the year. So I think he probably got about 60 of his 80 targets in the second half of the season when they started to kind of turn things around.
Started to utilize him.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, 81 targets for a bad number 2 receiver. So I would expect when you upgrade to a guy like a George Pickens, that number is going to go up. Definitely. I see we got Keystone joining us. Keystone, thank you for
What's up,
tuning in.
Keystone?
Appreciate that. Yeah, Brian Tanner. Yeah, they threw a lot to the tight end and the running backs. Let's see who else I think we had somebody else coming in. Oh no, it was Andrew making a comment. So yeah,
well, thank you. It is very nice. I love it. I've got a lot of stuff, but those are just some of the helmets because most of my collection is upstairs. But those are my centerpieces. I've got some pretty cool stuff. And we give away stuff like that, not the helmets, but we do give away autographs. So make sure everyone keeps tuning in. Once we get closer to the season, we usually load up and have some big stuff. So.
Yeah, that's a great point too, Michael Rizzo. Cooks did miss most of that
Yes.
season, so he was in and out quite a bit. Both seasons. And he still got 81 targets as a bad number 2. So yeah, I think he's going to get 115 targets. So I think he's going to be very happy here. And if he does do that, I can foresee him definitely getting over 1,000 yards.
Also, being a contract here with the character situation, I don't think you're going to have to worry about him acting out because if he does really want to hit free agency, he doesn't want that hanging over his head of the guy that, causes issues in the locker room.
Now, I heard just listening to the media talk, he got a lot of fines for being late to meetings and stuff like that. But again, if you're a star receiver and you're not getting the ball, I can see you kind of just lollygagging around the practice facility. Like, why am I here? You're not going to throw it to me. I think that's quite common.
I'm a distraction.
Yeah.
You got prior move. You throw the ball to him.
Yep, exactly. And then you got to look at, it's Pittsburgh. He's now coming to a dome team. So you got a speedy, tall receiver on a track instead of on a cold, natural grass field. Just that alone. And then you have a team that's going to emphasize explosiveness when the team you came from before gave it to 240-pound running backs that ran it 25, 30 times a game. So it's a lot of culture differences that are going to make a positive effect on him.
And really, I know Shoddy loves to run the ball, but if you look at what we've done in years past, we're a pass-heavy team. So there's reason for him to be excited.
Yep, exactly.
What's up, Alex? It was pretty funny.
So I'm around 58 says, how do you feel about the coach with all that talent? And I'm assuming you're talking about Schottenheimer. Personally, I think he is one of the major contributors to all the talent. I think for once in probably 15 years, Jerry actually had a coach that he let pick the groceries that he's going to cook. And in terms of what Bill Parcells said, you see a lot of guys from teams that the coaches came from coming here. He pretty much laid out what his system is going to be. And they got him guys that fit that system. We're going to be explosive. You see Paris Campbell runs a 4.3. You see George Pickens runs a 4.4. You see Jaden Blue runs a 4.3. We're going to throw the ball to the running backs. Yeah. Javonte Williams, while he's considered a bruiser, he had 50 catches last year. Miles Sanders had a down year, but he's known for being a dual threat running back. And we're going to be physical at the point of attack. We brought in every free agent guard known to man this offseason, and we still drafted a guard first round and drafted another guard in the 5th round.
Yeah.
So they're giving him everything he wants. I feel like because he's getting pieces that he wants and he asks for, he's going to be successful with those pieces because he has a plan in place.
I think my answer to this question is I think a lot of people weren't happy with the Schottenheimer pick, and my thought process is this man has been skipped over for, promotions for a long time. Schottenheimer's been around the league quite some time, and he's been passed over for opportunities to become a head coach. So I think he has something to prove, I think he is completely. I think you can't. This wouldn't happen. All these talent acquisitions wouldn't have happened with Mike McCarthy because we haven't seen it in the years he was here. So I think that Schottenheimer is getting his way, and I think he has something to prove. And we're already seeing a difference in the change in culture. We're seeing it already. What he's doing by moving around and lockers and putting people in different places in the locker room, you're already seeing that shift. He's having crawfish boils and getting everybody in, and these players want to play for him. Every player that you've seen have an interview and that's asked about Brian, they are giving very, very positive. Like they say, he makes you want to run through a wall. Like that's what some of the who was that who said that? Osa? Was it Osa who said it? Someone said it.
Yeah.
But so I think that
Overshown.
Was it Overshown?
Yeah.
I think that this is going to be the coaching hire that no one saw coming. I really do. I expect the Cowboys to have a very good year. The only thing that freaks me out is after we traded for George Pickens, everyone's starting to talk about us being contenders, and I don't like that. I want people to doubt us. Please stop saying nice things about us. We're Cowboys. We're the Cowboys. Y'all be
It's
mean.
not a lot of people saying nice things though, Amanda.
Well, I've seen a lot. Like NFL on ESPN. I've shared a few of them. Yeah. They're all talking about how, with the exception of Stephen A., they're talking about that this was truly a pick that the Cowboys needed. They needed this player, and they said that it really provides everything this team has to be true contenders. So we'll see.
Yeah, I was going to bring this point up once Amanda stopped talking, but yeah, Micah never shows up to off-season workouts, and he was there day one.
Yeah.
So that just and he's in a contract year, so he definitely didn't have to be there. So that just kind of lets you know the influence that Schottenheimer's bringing to that locker room. Yeah. And I know people don't think about it, but look at all the picks we made this offseason. We're bringing in a bunch of talent, whether they were successful or not, where they came from. These guys are all former first-round picks, and they all fit what Schottenheimer and White Cotton and Clayton Adams are looking for, and Eberflus on both sides of the ball. Brian asked the question, is Blue going to be running back one or Javonte? I still, just listening to interviews, I still think there's a good chance Miles Sanders can be the running back one.
I agree. I think that's the plan.
Yeah.
But I think that Blue will be I think he'll start out slow, just because you can't let that speed speed sit, because if you let him slide, you let him play in preseason and he shows, flashes, he's going to be gone. He won't make it through waivers. Yeah. But I think he has the potential to be number one midway through the season. If he comes out and does what I expect him to do, because like we were talking about earlier, he has great hands, and out of the backfield, that man can catch a ball. Like, it is impressive. His talent as a receiving running back is very impressive.
Yeah. And I know fans are going to say, well, he was a 5th-round pick. We're looking too much into that. I'll still keep saying this was the deepest running back draft in 25 years. Guys who were in the 5th round in any other year would have been 2nd or 3rd rounders. That was the depth in this draft. So it's not like we're getting a regular 5th-round pick guy. If he was in last year's draft, I would have been shocked if he went past the 3rd round. Shocked.
Yeah.
Jack Meeker saying we got to toss that 34 and get Blue as 23. Yeah. Brian said, I'm glad we're giving him an actual chance to take the reins. Now, I'll be realistic. I'm still not expecting a great year from the Cowboys this year, only because this is a lot of culture building, a lot of culture changing, a lot of new players coming in. We've never had this level of players coming in one season. It's always been a lot of, we like our guys, and we're going to re-sign guys who were on the bench for 5 years and they finally get a shot. We're bringing in a lot of talent this year, and I think it's going to take time for that talent to mesh. But next year, I'm all in. I hate to use that term, but I'm really going to be expecting big things next year. I think this year we'll probably we'll talk about next week, because next week is going to be the schedule show, because the schedule comes out next week. So, Amanda, I don't know if you're busy, if you want to come back again and
Sure.
join us for the
Good
schedule
chat.
show. But
Yeah.
we'll go through the schedule. We'll talk more about the team, and we'll talk about our expectations for next year in terms of record. So
We got a tough schedule next year. I don't know why. When looking at, I mean,
yeah,
what's weird. I mean, we didn't even play well last year, so we're on a third place schedule. But
yeah,
it doesn't feel like one when you look at it with the teams we're playing.
I'm not drinking it yet. I'm drinking it for 2026. This year, I don't see us being a 7-win team. I think we'll win 10. But next year, I'm expecting us to be competing, depending on how this talent comes together this year. It could be a quick turnaround. You never know. All right. So last topic of the night. We're at an hour, 15 minutes. The views held steady. The likes went up. So thank you guys for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
We got about 10 more minutes, and then we'll do that giveaway, and we'll get out of here. So last topic of the night is basically what's next for the receiver room. And there have been quite a few moves made. We've signed a couple of guys. We've got guys coming back from last year. We've got undrafted free agents that Amanda's talked about who could possibly have an impact. So just talking about where the receiver room is right now, Amanda. First of all, how many receivers do you think they keep? You think they keep 6 or 7? I know it's early talk, but just
Well, I'm trying to think. Well, see, I think they keep 6 because you have Tolbert, who you can stick as your PR, and then kind of. I think 6 with, but Turpin, if you want to count him as a wideout, you can go at 7.
I think Turpin's going to be involved in the offense this year.
Well, I think so too, but I mean, I'm just thinking of typically when he was on there last year, wasn't he on as just a return specialist?
Yeah,
Didn't
last
they
year
have
was
him
just a specialist.
classified?
Yeah.
So do you think they add him to the receiver list then? Or do you think he stays as specialist?
No, they paid him $6.5 million a year. He's a receiver now.
Well, I agree. I agree he's going to do it. I'm just curious where they put him on the chart. So I'll say 7 if we're going to include Tolbert.
Okay, so let's say it's 7, using your thought process. So I think all of these are pretty much no debate. George Pickens, 1. Not in no particular order. George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb, Jonathan Mingo because of the trade, Jalen Tolbert last year of the deal, and he was a number 2, and he's improved every year. So that's 4, and then Kevontae Turpin at 5. So if you say we're keeping 7 receivers, who are your early thoughts on who fills spot 6 or 7? Is it Flournoy from last year? What's the other receiver from last year?
Jalen Moreno Cropper, right?
Jalen Moreno Cropper actually is
on
a great fit. Yeah, but to me, he's a great fit for what this scheme is. So you got to remember him. Now, what's the big receiver from South Carolina's name?
Josh
Brooks.
Kelly? Oh, no, Brooks. Jonathan Brooks. No, not Jonathan
I can't think of his first name, but Brooks.
Jalen Brooks.
Jalen Brooks.
Jalen. Yeah.
So you got Jalen Brooks, you got Jalen Moreno Cropper, you've got Ryan Flournoy from last year. This year, you've signed the receiver from Ohio State, Paris Campbell, 4.3 speed. Again, he fits what they want to do, and they've been signing guys that they think will fit. So you got to worry about him. Then you got the 2 undrafted guys, and Josh Kelly, and was it Trayshawn Holden?
Yes, sir.
And remember, Holden was a receiver for our wide receiver coach at Oregon. So he already has a leg up in terms of knowing what the coach wants and kind of being a coach's pet. So I just named you like 6 guys, and there's only 2 spots to fill. Early thoughts, who are the 2 guys you think in line to get those 2 spots? And let me know what you guys think in the comments.
So I think Paris Campbell, oh man, I was not impressed with Flournoy. I know that it was a rookie, but I wasn't impressed. I think at most he'll be practice squad. I've been saying it. Holden's making this team. Simply, I mean, the dude is talented. I'm still not sure how he was undrafted. Maybe I'm missing something. Marcus, if I'm missing something, please tell me because I'm watching film and I don't understand how he went undrafted.
His
So,
he had some off the field issues at
Ah.
Bama, and his 40 time was kind of slow.
eh,
But the tape doesn't match the 40. So, like you said, I'm not
Not at
concerned
all.
about the 40.
I'm not worried about that. I think Holden's making this roster. And then I like Brooks over Cropper, over
Okay.
Moreno Cropper. See, I would like to, unless Jonathan Mingo shows something, I'm not even, I know we traded for him, but I wouldn't be opposed to letting him walk if other players played well. I haven't
Yeah.
watched enough film on Kelly, but of the people I know, I would go Brooks and Holden with like, because I think Paris Campbell's a camp body. Flournoy, most, because he's on the second year of his deal, a practice squad. But yeah.
Got another admin joining us, Side Witherspoon. Most of the people saying they think we keep 6.
We kept 7 last year, didn't we?
Last year we keep 7. Let's see. Lamb, Tolbert, Brooks, Turpin, Flournoy. Who are the other 2? Who am I missing? Cooks.
Cooks. Yeah.
Who is 7B?
Well, maybe we only kept 6.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't think who the 7th one was, but yeah.
Okay. I'll be right back.
Okay. So yeah. So 7 guys, 6 guys. I mean, 5 spots are filled already. So I see a lot of you guys saying Flournoy's out. Jeff has Holden. Brian Tanner has Cropper with a question mark. Maybe he makes it. I think we're sleeping on Paris Campbell, though, guys. Again, these coaches have told us what they want. They want explosiveness. Paris Campbell, while he hasn't lived up to the second round billing, he is a 4.3 speed receiver. I think they can find a role for him in a Z spot, so you can just rotate fast guys. Like, I don't even care. You've got Pickens in the X, you got Lamb in the slot, you've got Ferguson at the tight end. At that Z spot, just rotate who's ever fast, whoever can run the fastest 40. Let's make that cornerback work. If that safety doesn't stay over top, just throw it up and see if their receiver's good enough to make something happen. That would be my thought process. And if that's the thought process, I'm going with the fastest, shiftiest guys I can get. And to me right now, that would probably be Cropper or Campbell. Now, I like Jalen Brooks. He showed a lot in the offseason. Maybe those guys can come in and show something in the preseason again and make it more competitive. But for me, just early thoughts, because we're looking at speed and quickness, I think Cropper and Paris Campbell and Trayshawn Holding, 2 of those 3 guys have a leg up if we go 7. Yeah. Fellow Buckeye. Great college career. Second round pick for the Colts. And they just couldn't make it happen. To me personally, they had a bunch of fast receivers. They didn't have a quarterback who can get it to them at that time. So it was kind of a square peg, round hole situation in Indy. I think with that speed, he still has a shot to come here and be productive. So, yeah, we had a couple of other questions about the receivers from earlier in the show. Jack Meeker asked, is Mingo good enough to beat out Tolbert for the 3rd wide receiver? What are your thoughts on that one, Amanda? Because I think they're going to give Mingo every opportunity because of that 4th round pick we traded for
him. Tolbert was really successful last year with a backup quarterback. When Dak went down, he played very well. I'm not sure if I think that Mingo can overtake Tolbert, but I mean, maybe number 4. I think I can't judge Mingo a lot because he was in Carolina. It's hard to judge Mingo on that. it's hard to judge someone with a rookie and what is it, Bryce Young? Was that his name? Bruce?
Yeah, Bryce
Wait,
Young. Yeah,
Bryce Young. So, but even then, when you had uh, Andy Dalton step in, he wasn't very successful. Other rookies overtook him.
yeah,
So I don't know if I think that Mingo can beat Jalen Tolbert.
yeah. If this was the Jason Garrett scheme where we're looking for big guys to run slants and hitches and screen passes, I would say, yeah, Mingo has a great shot. But if you're looking for a guy in this scheme who can run routes and be explosive, if Mingo can tap into that 6'2", 220 frame and use that 4.4 speed he has, yeah, maybe he has a shot. Maybe he comes here. Maybe they figure out a way to tap into it and he can become a semblance of the history of Ole Miss receivers that we've seen the past 5 years in A.J. Brown, DK Metcalf, Trey Harris, guys like that. But if we're going to see what we saw last year where he was given opportunities and couldn't make the play, or what we saw in Carolina where he was leapfrogged by 2 rookies, no, he doesn't have a shot. Because you gotta give Tolbert his credit. Tolbert's gotten better every year. He went from not playing at all to 200 yards to 600 yards. If he progresses, you got to assume he has a chance to be an 800, 900 yard receiver this year. And to me, he's the lead guy with the second group. So preseason is going to be very interesting, especially at that wide receiver spot, because I don't think we're going to see Lamb at all. I don't think we're going to see Pickens at all. I think we're going to see all these young guys getting a chance to play, and they're going to have a good offensive line, and they're going to have a good quarterback throwing to them, unlike last year. So they're going to have some opportunities to really show what they can do.
I think so. I still think the Cowboys should play some of our starters. We've got a new, somewhat of a new scheme, too many new players. I just can't comprehend not playing some of them, but we never do. So,
Andrew Smith says, "What is my favorite DC item within reach?" Well, mine's hanging on the wall, so I can't pull it down. The autograph George T jersey. When he started his podcast, he was kind of reaching out to me a lot behind the scenes to kind of help him get started. And just as a thank you, he mailed me a autographed jersey and a couple of autographed pictures. So
George is great.
Yeah, George is great. And he has a great podcast too, if you guys want to check it out. George really focuses a lot on Alabama. But if you just want to hear Cowboys legend talk, go over and check out Teague's Take on Tuesday nights. George does a lot of whiteboard stuff too. So if you like what I did earlier in the show, where I put the screen up and kind of showed you schematics, George does that all the time, and I'm hooked on it. So if you guys like football talk, George gets a lot of guests, a lot of former players, Cowboys, Bama, SEC legends. He gets a lot of great guests over there also. So go check out Georgia T's Take on a Tuesday night if you get a chance. Okay, Brian Tanner asked the question. We're at an hour 29 minutes. We'll get out of here in a few minutes. Thoughts on Hunter Lepke, because we've got a lot of running backs in that room now. You got Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders. You drafted Blue. You drafted Maffa. You still got Deuce hanging around. And now we got Hunter Lepke. What are your thoughts, Amanda, about Lepke possibly getting a bigger role in the pass game? Because they do want pass-catching running backs.
I like Lepke, but so far I haven't seen enough to warrant giving him that. I mean, but we haven't utilized him properly. And, he had that big fumble. Wasn't it last year?
Uh-huh.
He had that big fumble. I haven't seen enough to warrant giving him more touches. But maybe we'll see some flashes in the preseason because that's where they got to show it to us. But I mean, Jeff makes a valid point. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him on the block.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to ask this question in a couple of months once we get to training camp. I'll go ahead and ask it now. We're building out the 53-man roster, right? Would you rather keep Lepke as a fifth running back or keep a seventh receiver?
I'd rather keep a seventh receiver.
Okay.
Injuries are too prevalent, and you can put him on. No one's going to take him on waivers, most likely, so you can put him on the practice squad in an emergency.
Yeah, because there's only two active running backs in the league: the Ravens, the Niners, and us. So, like you said, there's not a lot of competition to sign them, and I think both of those fullbacks just signed contracts, so it's not like those dudes are gonna poach our fullback. Fifth running back or fourth tight end.
What now? Sorry.
Fifth running back or fourth tight end.
Fifth running back.
Okay, so you rather roll the three tight ends we got?
I'm happy with the three tight ends that we have.
Okay.
And I think Schoon really started doing better. He kind of made me eat my words last year. So I am excited to see what he does this year.
Okay. Fifth running back or fifth guard?
Running back.
Okay.
We have so many guards. We don't need no more. And we have a lot of players that are they can do both.
Yeah, we got a lot of that. Yeah.
We have a lot of players that can play tackle or guard. So I think that we're just going to be able to find the best of the best in that can play both, and that gives you more depth. It's great. We're really in a good position on the offensive line. There's going to be a lot of camp competition.
Yeah. Somebody asked the question. I'll get your thoughts on this. Do you think there's a chance that we play Pickens more like a Z receiver and give Mingo, because I said before the trade, Mingo's going to get every shot to be the X because I think that's the only spot he can play in. Do you think there's a chance they still give Mingo that X and they play Pickens more like a Z?
I mean, it depends. Are they trying to win, or are they trying to make themselves feel better about a wasted fourth-round pick again?
Oh, well.
I mean, we're trying to win games. I understand the concept, but sometimes you just have to admit and say, hey, just like with Trey Lance, when we let him walk, we made a mistake. He's here. That's why I'm not even opposed to cutting him if someone else plays better.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to make a pick work. If you mess up, you mess up. Move on about it, and let's find someone that's better. So
I agree.
My personal opinion. We're trying to win football. We're not trying to, win feelings.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. That fourth-round pick is a sunk cost right now. If we don't get anything out of it, I mean, shrug it off and move forward. I'm not interested in giving up the potential of a Trayshawn Holden or a Jalen Marino Cropper, who I think is really talented but didn't get an opportunity last year, just to try to make Mingo fit because we gave up draft compensation for him. I really think Cropper's going to turn some heads in this new scheme as a Z receiver. And I think Turpin's going to be a lot more involved as well. So I'm really looking forward. I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens. All right, guys. So hour 35 minutes, one topic, talking about George Pickens being a new addition to the Cowboys. View stays steady, so thank you guys for joining us. Before we get out of here, Amanda, still want to do that giveaway?
Yes.
All right, so let the people know exactly what they will win.
Okay, so I just have a couple of so I've got a really cool Cowboys nightlight that's really, really awesome. And then I think I have a few other things that are going to be thrown in there with it. So just kind of like a little swag bag of Cowboys merch. So.
Okay. All right. And as you guys know, if you like to win, we have a few simple rules. So hopefully you guys on X still have an opportunity to come over and join us on YouTube or Facebook. But you have to contact Amanda within 72 hours if you are named the winner. We do ask that you are a Cowboys fan. The prize will be chosen based off Cowboys trivia. So I would hope that Cowboys fans would know Cowboys trivia before another fan would. We do ask that you follow the DC4L Facebook and YouTube page, as well as the Bluff City Cowboys YouTube page. And number 4, you have to give Facebook permission, but that's kind of gone out the window now. So if we can see you, we'll know who won. Amanda, in the private chat, you got any questions off the top of your head you want to think of?
No, you got some?
I was trying to make it trade related, but I couldn't think of one. Let me just Google real quick.
Okay.
So while I do this, Amanda, let the people know a little bit more about DC4L.
So DC4L was founded in 2016. I joined DC4L at midway through 2017, and I completely took ownership of DC4L in 2018. We have players, families, like you heard me earlier with saying hi to Mr. BB, Cooper's dad. We have player DeMar Overshown is constantly in here. We've just really built a name for ourselves. We don't post nonsense. We keep it friendly, no bullying. We're just all about having good fun as Cowboys fans. We have our public page where you can get all sorts of information and you can share that information. And we're very facts focused. And then we have the group, which is 150,000 people. And we reach on our public platform, the page that we're streaming on right now, we reach about 10 million people a month. And we have 150,000 members in our private group that's only Cowboys fans. No scammers, no bots, nothing like that. We give away tickets. We give away all sorts of stuff. And this year, DC4L, this past season, the DC4L was recognized by the Dallas Cowboys organization. And I won the 2024 Dallas Cowboys Fan of the Year. We do Thanksgiving food fundraisers, meal deals. We're working on a toy drive for this season, for this Christmas year season. We're just a really bunch of Cowboys fans that wanted to make a difference, and we use our platform to do so. It's been awesome and great. So it's hard to talk about myself. I don't know what to say, but I have an awesome co-owner. A lot of our admins are in the chat right now. We're just a big family. Marcus is on the team. We love football, and it's been just a blessing for all of us. So hang out with us, get to talk with us. Make sure you stick around because, like I said, we give away tickets. We gave away 3 sets of tickets last year. And now we have Cowboys employees in the group from the thing. So it's awesome. And yes, so all you have to do is, we do the Thanksgiving meal fundraiser where our members who need help with a Thanksgiving meal, we have a big fundraiser for that. We start it around October, and then the Christmas toy drive is something, it'll be new this year, and we hope to start doing it and start taking fundraising donations for that in November. And everything's transparent. All you have to do if you want to know where your money goes, just message us. We're very upfront. We have a Patreon group. We give away memorabilia. And we have a sister group that's all about memorabilia. We're really, really lucky. Marcus has been with us, 3 years, 2 years?
Yeah, it'll be 3 years in October.
I thought so. And we're what? Let's see, 2 seasons, almost 2 full seasons.
Yeah,
we've been here for a long time. And yes, we're trying to work on Brian runs our Etsy store. We have our own memorabilia. We don't use the Cowboy Star, so we can make sure we're on it. We have our own logo. It's copywritten, all that stuff. It's we're really lucky, and we are so grateful for all of you that sit here and tune in with us every week. So Marcus is awesome too. Make sure you're following him. And we still have the giveaway. You go to YouTube, search Real DC4L and toggle it to channel, and you'll find us. And then Bluff City Cowboys, you'll find him. And once both channels get to 1,000 subscribers, I'm giving away a full-size autographed helmet. So tell your friends to join. Tell everyone to follow.
Get to 1,000.
Yes, get us to 1,000 on both pages, and we will make sure someone wins a very nice helmet.
All right, so I got an easy question tonight, Amanda. I tried to keep it themed to the topic tonight. So I was trying to find a wide receiver we traded a 3rd round pick for. I couldn't find one off the top of my head. Everything just kept popping up George Pickens. So wide receiver, 3rd round. I just kept it in that thing. The trivia question tonight is, name the last 2 receivers drafted in the 3rd round by the Dallas Cowboys. These are pretty recent, So name the last two receivers drafted in the third round by the Cowboys. The first person that puts the correct comment will win today's prize. I've
That
been
was a good
expecting to see these
question.
pretty quick.
That was a
Last
good
two
question.
receivers. You can type last names to make it quick. Because I know everybody's Googling right now.
Yeah. It's
I
like,
don't
who's got the fastest fingers?
yeah. I don't think that's a question that'll come up if you type in this. I think you would almost have to know who the receivers are, or just type in Cowboys receiver third round. Oh, we got our winner. I should have known
Wow.
Jeff would get it.
Hey, Jeff finally won a contest.
So congratulations, Jeff. The last two wide receivers drafted in the third round were Jalen Tolbert back in 2022, and then Terrence Williams back in 2013. So last two wide receivers drafted in the third round. Congratulations, Jeff. Please reach out to Amanda after the show so that you can claim your prize. We definitely appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. Maybe since Amanda's joining us next week, we'll go back to back and do another giveaway next week.
Yeah, we can do that. I'll pull up some stuff.
Yeah. So once again, the draft is over. We are in the preseason. Next week is going to be the schedule release show. The schedule release show for NFL is going to be 7 p.m. Central. So as soon as it's over with, you can come right here and we'll break down the schedule game by game. So be sure to join us next week at 8:30 Central Standard Time for another episode of the Fifth Quarter Podcast. Next week, we will be discussing the schedule. We'll know exactly who we play, when we play them, who's at home, who's away. We'll talk about what the team looks like, and we'll give a very, very early record prediction based off of our schedule. So hope you guys come back and join us again. Join in the conversation. All right, Amanda, any last words before we go?
No, sir. Thank you all for tuning in. Can't wait to chat with you next week. What a great day today was for Cowboys Nation.
It was.
What a great day. I've been on cloud nine since it happened. So,
yeah.
Anyways, thanks for tuning in, everybody. As always, Marcus, thank you for being such an amazing host. I love being co-host when I come on. I appreciate everybody. Thank you so much.
Yeah. You know what? Before we go, I got one more question. I'm sorry.
Uh-oh. Okay.
So because of the draft, I just brought up the draft, and we didn't take a receiver, and the fan base was just completely up in arms about, I can't believe we did not take a receiver. The draft is an F. So I got two questions. Question one, knowing that we got George Pickens, what grade do you give the draft now? And everybody in the comments, let me know your thoughts. We didn't take a receiver, so a lot of people gave us a negative grade because of that. But we got our guy now. What do you give the draft now, knowing that we got a receiver?
I'm at a B plus.
Okay.
I mean it. I don't want to go A, but B plus makes C.
Where were you before?
A B negative, C plus, okay. Somewhere not. And it's simply, a lot of it has to do with the fact that we ignored skill positions. We're so bad about it. I felt better when we drafted, 2 running backs, but I'm so tired of giving Dak less and expecting more. So I was just really wanting us to focus on that. Me and Micah's brother were talking about it on Twitter. So I'm very grateful to see them finally address that. So now I understand, knowing this trade has been in the works for weeks. Now I understand why we didn't address wide receiver. It makes complete sense. So I'm going to stick at a B plus, because honestly, we filled every hole. We didn't have to fill many holes because we did so much moving and start of the off season. But that's where I'm at. I'm at a B plus, and I think there's some sleepers in there that people aren't really aware of yet. And if Revel is healthy, he is going to be a phenomenal player in the third round. So I think I'll stick with the B plus.
Well, I had it at a B before the draft. I'm at a B plus now. I agree. The day 3 still kind of throws me off. The first 3 were all home runs, but then once we get to day 3, I still don't get the Shamar James pick. I don't get the guard pick. like Jeff said, there was other running backs. I love Blue, but we could have paired him with a Giddens or a Caleb Johnson or even a I can't think of the running back's name, but we could have paired up Damian Martinez from Miami. We could have paired him with a better running back to me. But I still love the Blue pick. The guard pick was a complete waste. I don't see how he makes the roster. I don't see how he touches the field.
I don't think he will either. It made no
Yeah,
sense to me.
yeah. I would have rather reached at a safety at that point because we didn't take a safety or another one tech. Like I love Weed said. But yeah, B plus even after the trade.
You love what, Marcus?
I said we still need a one tech.
I know, but
Oh,
you
I love
said,
Weed. That's his name.
I know. I was just giving you a hard time, man.
So I was just reading right through it. Didn't even pay
I
attention.
know. It's okay. I was just giving you a hard time.
And Jeff, great point. If Ted would have fallen to us, this trade would not have happened.
100%.
So, second question. A lot of people wanted us to take a wide receiver during the draft. Got another Eagles fan in here. Philly. Thank you for joining us. So, didn't take a wide receiver during the draft. Let's assume that we took Golden or Emeka or Burton at 12. Would you have been happy with one of those guys plus a free agent guard like a Will Hernandez or with Booker and Pickens?
I'm out there with you had to replace Zach Martin. If you look at he was a cornerstone of that line, and it's only come to fruition. I can say that now because of the Pickens pickup. Yeah. But Booker and Pickens is the better option, and I like Will Hernandez, but the better option. Granted, Tet would have been here longer, cheaper. Wouldn't be potentially just a 1-year rental, but the better option was replacing Zach Martin because protecting your quarterback. If he can't throw the ball, he can't. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you don't have a line, Dak's struggling. We've seen that enough. Yeah. So it was the right move.
Oh, we didn't call you a troll.
Oh yeah, no, we aren't. Yeah, we watch. We don't mind. All teams, all fans are welcome from all teams. We ain't gonna talk crap. Yeah, we like talking football. Yeah, just be respectful. That's all we do here.
Yeah. So Jeff says he would have preferred Golden and Hernandez. I know Jeff really loves Golden though.
I know he does.
Yeah.
I still don't understand the Packers and their wide receiver room. They got enough wide receivers. They could probably put, I don't know. There's 15.
Yeah, I don't get that one either.
It made no sense.
Yeah. But I'm happy with this. Like we talked about when we put the chart up there. We've got a top guard in the draft. We're gonna see a lot of 6-man boxes, and that guard center guard combo is really gonna wreak havoc when teams only have one linebacker in the middle of the field, which is gonna happen a lot based off of having to pay attention to Ferguson and Lamb, because you're gonna have to bracket one of those guys with the other linebacker.
I agree.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that combination. As much as I love Ted, I still like Pickens and Booker more. All right, now so that's all we have for this week's show. Be sure to join us next week, 8:30 Central Standard Time for the next episode. It's gonna be a schedule show, so the schedule is gonna drop at 7. You can come back here at 8:30. We'll have the full schedule laid out for you guys who missed the schedule show, and we'll give you our thoughts on what our schedule looks like each quarter of the season, bye weeks, and whole season. So got a lot of great content coming next week. We're going to keep pushing this undrafted free agent show back. So we got to push it back for another week. But be sure the week after that, we're going to talk about all the undrafted free agents. We've talked about Trayshawn Holden, the wide receiver, quite a bit. I'm going to give you guys a lot more details about him as a player and why he fits this system. We actually got a lot of really good undrafted free agents.
We did.
I think we had 9. There are at least 4 who should have been draftable players. And of those 4, I would be shocked if at least 3 don't make the roster. So
Agreed.
we've got a lot of talent in the undrafted free agent pool. So be sure to join us the week after, where I'll give you a breakdown of all those undrafted free agents. So that's pretty much it for tonight's show. Thank you guys for tuning in. Always appreciate your support. And as always, let's go Cowboys. Any last words before we go, Amanda?
No, sir. We'll see y'all next week.
All right. See you guys next week for another episode of the Fifth Quarter Podcast.